Okay, now I will talk to you about what Christ means to me. In my previous video, I alluded to the fact that there's been many characters in history who have been identical to what Christ is. And nowadays, one of the conspiracy theories we see out there is that people are saying that Christ was plagiarized. It's so simple. It's like um, situations repeat in life. Yeah, like the story of creation with Adam and Eve, Cain, Abel, and Seth. That repeats in life. Sometimes you find yourself to be one of those characters. If you're a father, you'll be an Adam, and your woman might get taken away by another man. So that story would look like that. You might be a Seth, you might be a Cain and Abel if you're the firstborn, the secondborn. So those stories do repeat in life. It's like um, we go through those situations, they just resonate at each generation. So that's how the Christ character resonated through history. But for me, I only know Christ through the Jewish Nazarene. Yeah, that's the first time I met a character like that. Yeah, so um, that's how I know that being that we call Christ, that being that guides you, yeah, into understanding the Almighty Creator, that aspect of the Almighty, yeah, that um, well is there with you, innit? Yeah. So I know him through the Jewish character, the Nazarene. Yeah. That's how I know Christ. Yeah. That character. So the guidance, um, there was uh, Dionysus, Mithra, Horus. Um, there's even some Hindu ones. Yeah, they've all been characters who are play a similar role to what Christ does. But I've only ever known that character. The first time I was introduced to that character, the concept was through the Jewish Nazarene, that Christ. So the guidance I've been receiving has been through that character. Yeah. So that's the Christ that I know. Yeah. So when I seek guidance in terms of understanding what the Almighty Creator um, is, and how to relate to Him, you see that Christ. Yeah. Now, obviously, um, Yahweh is is another phenomenon that I realized. Yeah. After realizing Christ, uh, you might have seen. I don't know if I posted it on this channel. A picture, yeah, where I took it and it was a cross that just synchronistically appeared to me. Yeah, and as I was analyzing this synchronicity, um, obviously as the sun moved, the cast shadow of the cross started to move downwards, like it's moving into the world. And so I started to synchronistically think about the Christ, and then I remembered the Yahweh, yeah, and how if you look online, they'll talk to you about the act of breathing, how you formulate that name. So I didn't know of that conspiracy theory until I started to actually realized how would you pronounce this name, and when I pronounced it, as I left it at that, and then a few months later, I found my body actually pronouncing that randomly beyond my consciousness, and then I looked at the people in front of me, and they were acting like they understand that they know of the name. Yeah. So Yahweh is a different thing. I won't go into that. But Christ, um, the character that helps me understand um, why Yahweh happens. Yeah, that one was the Nazarene, the Jewish Christ. Yeah, that's the one I know, and that's the only one I've ever known. I've read about the other ones. I know Horus. Yeah, and there was another episode where I was touched by what I later deduced to be Amun. Yeah, but that was a different take on things. I've read about Amun, and that is kind of like agrees with what science is finding with dark matter and dark energy. Yeah, the unseen God. Yeah, and the unknown. Yeah, but the manifestation of Yahweh is a different phenomena. It's that's when you start to engage demons and spirits, and it's very very scary. I haven't really started to do it properly, but this is what those two characters, the Christ and the Yahweh, mean to me. It's a form of protection, like I said before. So I know many people will say, well, we've got our own Christ, we've got our own version of that. Then, good for you. As long as you have something like that, yeah, you'll be able to understand the Creator. So, but for me, I know it through the Nazarene. So it's up to you. At the end of the day. So um, the Christ is the Christ, isn't it? Whatever name you attach to it, it does the same role. Does the same job. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I want to add about my knowledge of Christ.